Economic Development. It is Monday, March 24th. We have a quorum, so let me announce that. Today, we will be hearing Senate File number 2361 from Senator Oumou Verbeten, Senate File 2342, and Senate File 2404 from Senator Mohamed. We'll also hear Senate File 2461 from Senator Jasinski, Senate File 2312 and 2452 from Senator Putnam, and Senate File 2427 and 2423 from me. As you can see, members as well as to the public, that we have a full agenda, so we will be limiting all testifiers to 2 minutes. Needless to say, the author of the bill or the senator can take as much time as they want. But I want to remind every individual about there will only be 2 minutes of testimony. The whole idea is that if you have more than one testifier on a bill, that you should not repeat what other folks said. You should be supplementing or building on the argument or persuasion that the other testifiers have put forward. And this is not the first time, because it was posted on the committee website, and all testifiers have been made aware of this in advance. So I hope that we are all on the same page. We will time you, and when your time is up, we will gently say your time is up, but that's not a suggestion. That is usually a requirement to finish. All right? So with that being said, we're going to have first up Senator Oumou Verbeten, who will come to the table along with her testifiers. Let me see. I believe that we have Richard Kladozizik, and you can correct me where I'm wrong. And we hope that you will give us your 2 minutes of testimony after Senator Oumou Verbeten. But before we get there, I believe that there's no fiscal impact on this one, Ms. Nona.
Mr. Chair and committee members, there aren't any appropriations in the bill. There has been a fiscal note requested on this bill, but it is not completed yet.
Okay. And just so, thank you for that information. Just so the testifier also knows, the second thing that we're checking on, just so that we're clear, is whether this bill should be laid over for possible inclusion, or if it has to take, or if it has to go to judiciary because of the penalties. We're not sure of that. We're not saying it does. We got a inquiry out to Senate Council, and we will hopefully hear from them before we conclude. So, with that being said, I'm always excited when Senator Oumou Verbeten is here. So, welcome to the committee, and if you'd be so kind as to give us your overview about the bill, and then we will go to your testifier once you're done, Senator Oumou Verbeten. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's always great to be here. And I will say after this, I'll be on my way back to judiciary. So keep me posted on that. But excited to present Senate File 2361, which really is closing a loophole that allows employers who have misclassified their employees to only pay half of what they owe for unemployment insurance and for paid family medical leave. And then it also gives D the ability to issue additional penalties, just to make sure everyone's on the same page about what employer misclassification fraud is. It occurs when employers mislabel their employees as independent contractors. And really that's a way to avoid providing workers with guaranteed protections. Those are things like overtime pay, minimum wage, earned sick and safe time, and then most importantly for this committee, unemployment insurance and paid family medical leave. It is a really big issue. Employer misclassification fraud truly affects everyone, workers, of course, business owners, community at large. The wages and benefits and dignity that are stolen from workers are, of course, horrible, but it also hurts law-abiding business owners who struggle to compete with those who do break the rules, and then it steals resources from our social safety nets. And again, in this committee, we're talking specifically about unemployment insurance and paid family medical leave. We also see taxpayers ending up having to pick up the tab for things like unpaid healthcare bills that should have been covered by employers. And then, of course, there's the payroll tax evasion that ends up shifting the tax burden onto everyone else. very big issue that impacts government across the board, the economy across the board. And there was a OLA report recently that estimated 1 in 5 workers is misclassified. I've been able to dig into this issue a lot on the Attorney General's task force on misclassification, which was created to really study the issue and then make policy recommendations to the legislature, and was the Senate appointee on that task force. Absolutely loved being there. We had a number of key stakeholders at the table, experts from across different industries, heard hours and hours of testimony from workers and businesses and policy experts. So have been digging into this issue a lot in the past 2 years. I'll just conclude by saying everyone really needs to pay their fair share. And currently when an employer misclassifies their employee, they're only required to pay 50% of what they owe for unemployment insurance and paid family medical leave. And so that's really creating a bad incentive. We want to make sure that paying your unemployment taxes correctly is not more expensive than cheating the system. And so this bill will get rid of any of those incentives to misclassify employees.
Thank you so much. We'll go to your testifier who will correct me about his last name because I'm certain that I butchered it up. So if you'd be so kind as to introduce yourself for the record and provide your 2 minutes of testimony. And welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, you were so close. My name is Richard Jasinski. I'm the Director of Government Affairs for the North Central States Regional
I was waiting for
Council
you to
of
say the
Governments.
last name one more time.
Jasinski.
Oh.
Nothing like
okay.
it looks.
All right. Thank you. Welcome again.
I also want to thank Senator Oumou Verbeten for bringing this bill forward. This bill is the opportunity to address specific cases where an employer knowingly makes a decision to misrepresent or engage in misconduct to cheat our UI and benefits system for their own financial gain. The current statute here requires the greater repayment of $500 or 50%. Members, 50% gives the bad actors who are intentionally defrauding a system an incentive, not a punishment. While I thank those of you who've been supportive of our battles against wage theft and tax fraud in the construction industry, it remains pervasive because the financial benefit is too great. And in this case, the financial benefit comes in the form of taxpayer dollars. Closing up some of the financial loopholes will create a level playing field for honest contractors who aren't cheating the system. The more we remove incentives to cheat, the better we'll all be in the long run. Our projects will be safer and our infrastructure will last for generations. This bill also ensures our UI system is made whole. One way or another, honest taxpayers will foot the bill, creating a long list of victims from these cheaters. Now, I'd like to specifically address the misclassification portion of this bill. Employers in Minnesota are simply not being punished for honest mistakes. Misclassification remains a problem today. It is directly linked to tax fraud, wage theft, work comp fraud, and UI fraud. This is a business model that construction contractors use. It's not an accident, it's intentional. These bad actors will continue to exploit workers and run with a fraud-filled business model as long as it's financially worth the risk. Right now, it's still worth the risk. And as long as defrauding a system of $100 only costs me $50, and if I get caught, we aren't doing enough. We have to support honest employers, and that means agreeing that making 50% on intentional misconduct has to come to an end.
And thank you so much.
Thank you.
I give you a little more time. If you have one last sentence, we'll be happy to hear it. And let me also say, if you have any additional testimony written testimony that you want to supply to us or provide to us, we'll certainly make sure we distribute it to the committee, to the testifier.
That's good, Mr. Chair. I was just wrapping up, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you so very much. Senator Oumou Verbeten, you said 1 in 5 workers are misclassified, and you've done, it sounds like, some great work with the task force. Is this bill a result of the work that you've done on the task force, and or was this a recommendation from the task force? Senator Oumou Verbeten.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the question. So the task force has been going on for a little over the year. Last year, I did bring forward a set of recommendations that came from the task force for the intergovernmental partnership that was formed that Dee does sit on. And this, at the conclusion of the task force at the end of this last year, we did go over kind of a broad set of recommendations that were everything from measuring the problem to making sure we have adequate penalties to, notification requirements. So I would say this definitely fits into that, and particularly around kind of the enforcement measures. But the specific language wasn't something that was in front of the task force.
And can you help me, Senator Oumou Verbeten, if the task force didn't come up with a specific recommendation, and this being a result of that, can you share with us how did you arrive at the penalty amount?
Yeah, so what I will say is the task force dug into the large issue that is employer misclassification fraud, and there were recommendations around making sure that our agencies have proper tools to enforce. And in digging into this, and the issue being when you intentionally misclassify an employee, there's again so many ramifications. For this committee, we're really just specifically talking about the impact to unemployment insurance and paid family medical leave. For some reason, in current law, the employer only has to pay back half of what they owe. So as Mr. Jasinski said, let's say you owed $100 in unemployment insurance, that's what you're supposed to do. And the law-abiding business owner is paying $100, but someone who intentionally breaks the rules only has to pay $50. And so that's really correcting, I think, an oversight in current law.
Senator Draheim.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for bringing the bill forward. This looks familiar. Is this the same bill as you had last year?
Senator Oumou Verbeten.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Draheim. The bill that I had last year was really the formation of the intergovernmental partnership, which brings together the number of agencies, DLI, DEED, the Commerce Fraud Bureau, Department of Revenue. It was really around the formation of that to look at misclassification as a whole. There were a few changes to the construction test and some of the penalties, but we didn't dig into this piece of UI in the bill last year. I don't think the bill that I brought even made it to jobs last year, so this is the first time I'm bringing forward this language.
Senator Draheim, any follow-up?
Yes, thank you. And then the testifier mentioned construction numerous times. Is this statute that this bill refers to, 268.184, only for construction?
Senator Oumou Verbeten, or you testifier?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Draheim. No, it's not just for construction. The first section is really looking at penalties for what you would have owed for unemployment insurance, and then the second section is addressing paid family medical leave. But that is broad to anyone who is misclassified an employee.
Senator Draheim, any follow-up?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And I guess my concern is, $10,000 fine for a small business. In my area, we have a lot of small businesses, a lot of small farmers that have employees. And I'm concerned that this is just way too broad. $10,000 fine is a lot for a small business. If it's a big multi-state construction company or something like that, that's a little different. But, in my area, we don't have a lot of large employers. We have small employers. And this could destroy a small business the way this bill's drafted. And then it doesn't appear any language in it talking about willfulness or intentional conduct. Can you just elaborate on that for the penalties?
Senator Oumou Verbeten, to the question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator Draheim. So first I will say, I think this bill, I really would classify as, again, closing some loopholes, doing some cleanup from what we have done in the past. The bill last year, which did have penalties for misclassification broadly, there were those penalties that DLI can issue. This is going to be deed in this case for unemployment insurance and paid family medical leave. I think having that flexibility is important because there are a range of businesses. I don't have it in front of me, but I do know that the agencies typically have a list of kind of factors that they look through when determining what the appropriate amount is. And so if this is, someone who made a mistake as a smaller business, I think the penalty would reflect that, but happy to follow up and have more conversation with the agencies. I just know that that's typically been the practice, is to allow some flexibility so that when there are a number of those kind of larger employers that need to be adequately, penalized, there's that flexibility to do so.
Follow up?
And Senator Johann, follow up.
Thank you. Unless council has some more to add, but part of the bill says additional penalty up to $10,000 may be imposed for each individual the employer failed to classify. So if you have a clerical error, you're a small farmer, small garage, repair shop, whatever it is, and you classify them wrong, you could get hit in a small area like me, 5 employees, that's $50,000. That would destroy almost all of my small businesses in my area. I think this bill is, a broad stroke that applies to every business in the state. I don't think that was your intent. But I'm very, very, very concerned the way it's drafted. And then, my last subject, I guess, in the bill, you use different employment status tests under Section 1 and Section 2 of the bill. Section 1 refers to 3315, which I believe is unemployment insurance, and Section 2 relies on 5200, which I think is a dolly. Can you just explain why you picked those two?
Senator Oumou Verbeten.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator Draheim. So there are a number of different tests that we have under Minnesota law. There's some have fallen under rulemaking that are referenced here. There is a specific test for construction workers, and I believe there's maybe a few other industries that have carved out a specific test. I can't remember off the top of my head. But again, the impact when misclassification fraud occurs is very broad, and it does impact a number of things. Our taxes, the guaranteed protections workers should receive, of course, the wages that they're owed. But again, in this committee specifically, it's unemployment insurance and it's paid family medical leave. And so that is why there are the 2 sections to the bill, which are looking at the penalties for you didn't pay unemployment insurance or you didn't pay what you're supposed to pay for paid family medical leave. You have to pay what you owed 100%, and then depending on the gravity of the situation, there are that ability for the agency to issue penalties.
Senator Durham, any follow-up before I go to Senator Pyle?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'll just wrap up with, I think, under my example of 5 employees at $10,000 per employee, that would destroy 99% of my businesses in my district. And I guarantee you that same 99% have no idea the different statutes or the different definitions that you have, between unemployment and dolly and the different fines. It's very confusing. Most small business people are just focusing on whatever their passion is, whatever their business is, and not following the different definitions that we figure out here and with zero consistency. And it's not intentional, but the way this bill's drafted, you are going to destroy what we have left as small businesses. I'm very concerned And with that, I'll leave it up to you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Drahan. Before I go to Senator Paz, I just want to call the committee's attention to lines 2.6 and 3.5, where it says up to, as opposed to it just being a definitive $10,000. And I guess that's where the other discussions would happen around the gravity of the offense and so on and so forth. The second thing I want the committee to be aware of is that our intention is to lay this bill over for possible inclusion. So if there's some things that should be looked at, which I know there's some things that should be looked at around this bill, like for example, a fiscal impact note has been requested. That's information that we're going to get that's going to help us when we think in terms of our decision making. Senator Paz, and then after Senator Paz, I'm going to Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Chair Champion. So I know that there was discussion about the employers who knowingly, or I'm assuming this would be intentionally defrauding, would be under these penalties. But how do we determine if someone knowingly or someone mistakenly, without knowledge, does that? And I think that that's where my biggest concern is, that there's, as a small business owner, and as I know many small business owners who are starting out, they may not know that there's a lot of, I have to say, even though we try to make that line very clear, there's a lot of gray in between an independent contractor and an employee. And when I read down all the classifications of what makes an independent contractor, what makes an employee, there's still some in the gray. My biggest concern is that people who are starting a brand new business, who's never been in business before, may misclassify someone as an independent contractor, thinking not because they intentionally did so, but because they really truly believe that that person they're hiring fits into an independent contractor. And maybe our agency or our state feels differently and says, nope, that should be an employee. And the employer goes, nope, that's an independent contractor. And then they get slapped with up to $10,000 in penalty, which I agree with Senator Drahan that as a small business owner myself, that would crush that small business, especially if they're a brand new small business or a small entrepreneur. And so my concern is who decides? I mean, I'm assuming that there's some process in proving that they knowingly defraud versus that they truly believe that their person that they hired is an independent contractor and structure it that way, but maybe our state feels differently.
Senator Oumou Verbeten, to the question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Senator Paul. So first, I do just want to say, I would love to simplify the test that we have. I think it is confusing that we have so many different tests, and I would love to dig into that more in future years. But when it comes to this bill and misclassification, first, the only sort of initial guarantee that I'm working on is you have to pay what you owe for unemployment insurance and paid family medical leave. So like the moving from 50 to 100% is baseline. You know, if actually, I'll make you the good person in this scenario. You're the good business owner, and you are paying what you should into unemployment insurance, and I intentionally misclassify, and then I only have to pay back half. That's not fair. So, you know, that is the baseline that we're fixing. The ability to have those additional fines up to $10,000, again, there are a range of factors that the agencies look at to determine, and I think it's really about having flexibility because we do have such a wide array of businesses. We have some really small businesses to some large businesses that are intentionally doing this as a business model and is to give flexibility. And again, I apologize, I don't have the exact factors in front of me right now, but I'm happy to follow up with the committee on what those factors are that DEED looks at. I know DLI looks at a different set of factors as well in determining if they're going to issue out additional fines. The other thing is that they do a lot of work to educate businesses. And frankly, misclassification is such a big issue. Our agencies do not have capacity to go after small businesses that make innocent mistakes. It takes a lot of complaints and a lot of documentation to go after some of these really bad actors and make sure that they are paying their fair share. So, I hear you on the concern. I think there is that flexibility right now so that our agency can go after the most egregious actors.
And Senator Parr, a follow-up, and I'm just going to remind the committee as well as the testifiers that we have a short window for this bill because we have other bills on the table. So, but we want to be fair. Senator Parr.
Thank you, Chair Champion, and thank you, Senator Oumou Verbeten, for bringing this. I understand your goal and intention of this, and I absolutely am on board with you about making sure we protect people. And I agree with you that we should, the 50% to 100% makes sense. For me, I think the biggest thing is the up to $10,000. I would love for us to work, I'll work with you outside of this just to talk about what maybe that up to $10,000 may look like, just because I'm very afraid for our small businesses that especially first-time business owners who may get caught in this. And so I would love to work with you outside of this to maybe change that language a little bit to something that, to me, I think it's more doable. Because again, this, I think there's a lot more small businesses that actually fall into the not intentional, but they truly believe that their person's independent contractor, and I think that there's probably a dispute between them and the agency on what that actually is. So thank you. But I do agree that with repeat offenders, that's different for me. If you're a repeat offender, you really need to be charged a lot more so that that doesn't continue. It's kind of that first time warning. I would love for us to have more of an education and warning basis for the first time, and then say after that first time, you've been educated, you've been warned, if you continue, you're going to get fined, hefty fines. But I truly believe that most people who start a business want to do the right thing, and I just don't want to hurt them. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Oumou Verbeten.
I just want to also point the committee to some of the first lines in the bill. Section 1, subdivision 1, that says the commissioner must penalize the employer if the employer or any employee, officer, or agent of that employer made a false statement of representation without a good faith belief as to the correctness of the statement or representation, or knowingly failed to disclose a material fact. So I do think a lot of that language is in there. I know that our agencies work really hard on the education and outreach and want people to do the right thing. We do have a number of bad actors out there who we also have to go after. And so this is really about having flexibility to do so. I think that bar is already sort of being met with the initial language.
Thank you. And I would ask that you provide some follow-up around those factors. The committee can have that information. Senator Nelson.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. I will be brief. Senator Parr made a very compelling case about the $10,000, and I agree with that wholeheartedly, and I think that her comments about how it would impact small businesses must not be unheard. I'm just going to add something. In addition, I have a question and then a couple comments about that. So I'm curious about how the proposed penalties here in your Senate File 2361 will interact with the current penalties that we already have in law regarding misclassification. And you probably understand right where that is, 181.722 subdivision 4. That's the specific part. I want you to, if you could, please speak to how the penalties that you're seeking would interact with the subdivision 4 of MS 181.722.
Senator Oumou Verbeten, and while you're answering that question.
Mr. Chair, I should say, she might not have that memorized, and if you don't, I have it up. I'll be glad to read it.
Okay. Senator Oumou Verbeten, while you're getting ready to answer that question, I was confirmed with Senate Council, and we just asking the question that last year in your bill that you had a penalty section, I believe, that was for up to the same amount. And our question is whether this penalty is an additional penalty on top of what you had last year, or is this a clarifying additional penalty from last year? So those are our two questions. Senator Oumou Verbeten.
Mr. Chair, thank you, Senator Nelson. So the bill last year, again, established the partnership and did look at fines for general misclassification that are issued by the Department of Labor and Industry. But because employer misclassification impacts so many things, so many different systems, and specifically for this committee, it's unemployment insurance and paid family medical leave, it is really matching so that, again, they have to pay back what they owe 100%. And then for that egregious behavior, there is an ability to issue fines, for deed to issue fines in this case.
And is this an additional penalty? Because your language says an additional penalty, and it says that both on lines 2.6 and 3.5. Senator Oumou Verbeten.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
All right. Senator Nelson.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator. That does get to my point exactly. And I would encourage you to note that that penalty, that $10,000 penalty, if there is misclassification, is already in place. So my encouragement would be that you totally drop that language in this bill as well. I understand it's the unemployment insurance piece, but I would say there's already a significantly high penalty for misclassification. And nobody thinks that employees should be misclassified. So, and if there is high numbers, what are the high numbers? I mean, you've mentioned that a number of times. What are the high numbers of misclassified employees?
Senator Oumou Verbeten.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Senator Nelson. So I did reference in my opening statement that the most recent OLA report found that at least 1 in 5 employees has been misclassified. What I will say again is that this is fraud, and when people intentionally defraud their workers, the government, community as a whole, there are huge impacts. There are huge impacts to the unemployment trust fund, to the fund that we need for paid family medical leave, taxes. Those go to paying all the services that we depend on. And there are some really bad actors out there who have employed this as a business model. And so I think the flexibility is very important for our agencies to go after those folks who are intentionally doing so. They're taking money away from everybody else that we need for unemployment insurance, that we need for paid family medical leave, frankly, that we need for taxes and just for the general services that we provide.
Senator Nelson,
Thank you.
follow up,
Be quick.
and just
Yes,
call us to time.
Yep, I'll just be quick. So nobody thinks employees should be misclassified. 1 out of 5 is alarming. I'll go back and read the OLA report to get the full context of that. But we must also look at why it's difficult for an employee to classify an employer to classify an employee properly. So 1 in 5, it's hard to believe that 20% of employees are misclassified. That is a shocking number. We'll go back and look at that. But I think you might be compounding this, which I think you should take out that massive penalty, the $10,000 penalty, again here in the unemployment insurance. And if in fact we have this much misclassified employees and there are $10,000 penalties, maybe the solution there is to channel those $10,000 penalties into the UI fund or the paid family leave fund. But I don't think adding an additional 10 grand penalty for misclassified workers is appropriate at this point. At least there's not enough information for me to see that this should be happening now. And I would, as I said, encourage you to listen to Senator Paugh and Senator Draheim about maybe the unintended consequences of the legislation before us. Thank you.
Senator Pratt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And a quick question for Ms. Noldner. Where would these additional penalties go once collected?
Ms. Noner.
Mr. Chair, Member Senator Pratt, I would have to think about it a little bit more, but I believe they would go to the general fund. I may have to check on that, though.
And Senator Pratt, she would double check that information and get that to you just to make sure that she has given you correct information. Senator Pratt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just to make sure we do, in fact, have correct information, I was looking at the OLA's report on misclassification, and the OLA states the overall rate of worker misclassification is unknown. According to Deed Audit, an estimated 22% of employers subject to a random unemployment insurance audit misclassified at least one worker. So that's not saying 22% or 20% of our workers are misclassified. It's saying in a random audit, 22% of employers may have misclassified one or more employees. And I think that's a very different scope than what Senator Oumou Verbeten laid out. And we can all disagree, you know, we can all interpret the language as we want, but I think it's clear. Last year, Senator Oumou Verbeten authored a misclassification bill, and that raised $1.5 million in new penalties. And if you'll recall, Mr. Chair, when we sat in finance, those penalties were being used to increase the target for the Department of Labor spending. This money now appears is going to the general fund. And it seems like this is yet another opportunity DLI is looking for to use penalties and fines to fund their own budget gap when general fund money will be tight. Mr. Chair, penalties should be used to discourage bad behavior and to make victims whole. I think it's not only improper but unethical for us to be looking at increasing penalties as a way to fund an agency's budget gaps. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Oumou Verbeten, you can address that in your closing.
Okay.
Any other questions before we lay this bill over for possible inclusion? Seeing no additional questions, Senator Oumou Verbeten, your closing comments, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I just want to correct the record in saying that the bill passed last year. One of the most important things that it did was give workers a private right of action and work to make them whole. The Attorney General also has some enforcement authority, and workers being made whole is the first priority when their wages are stolen. Employer misclassification fraud is larger than that. Of course, workers' wages being stolen is a huge part of this, wage theft, but it is also defrauding the government and the community as a whole. There are a number of things that folks have to pay into this system: unemployment insurance, paid family medical leave, taxes as a whole. And so the current structure we have, I mean, in this bill, literally incentivizes people to misclassify. They pay less when they misclassify than they do if they just follow the law. So we have to correct that. We're creating an incentive for employers to misclassify right now. They don't have to pay what they should pay for unemployment insurance and for paid family medical leave. And we absolutely should use penalties to discourage that behavior. That's why you also see the penalties in the bill. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Oumou Verbeten. With that being said, Senate File 2361 will be laid over for possible inclusion. Members, there's going to be a few adjustments to our lineup. We're going to go to Senator Putnam for Senate File 2312, and it's my understanding, Senator Putnam, you do not have a testifier on Senate File 2312. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. And I'm going to go to Ms. Noner just to see if there's any financial picture that we should know about for 2312.
Mr. Chair and committee members, Senate File 2312 has $1 million in fiscal year 2026 from the general fund for Avivo. And in the past, in fiscal year 22-23, Avivo received $1.3 million from the Workforce Development Fund and $1.8 million in fiscal year 24-25 from the general fund.
Thank you so much, Ms. Noner. Okay. We'll now go to Senator Putnam for your presentation. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I will try to be as efficient as possible, knowing the time constraints and the time of year. But I do want to retell a quick story, and it's a story that you've heard before because you've heard this bill before. And that's when I first got elected, one of the first meetings I had was with the Central Minnesota Sexual Assault Task Force. And in the context of that meeting, I heard about how hard it is for people who are trying to flee exploitation to get to a new and better future, and that more often than not, one of the challenges they faced was the lack of employment opportunity. This bill grows directly from that experience. Part of the reason why we don't have testifiers is that we don't have a lobbyist. This came directly, immediately from my community. I called my good friend Charles, who is at Anna Marie's Alliance, and my friend Cece, who's at Terebinth Refuge, two local shelters in my community. And we talked about the need for some sort of workforce development program specific to people who are fleeing domestic abuse or sex trafficking. And this bill was a result of that work. And Mr. Chair, with your leadership and the agreement of this committee, we funded that work last session to the tune of about $1 million over the, no, is it $500,000 over the biennium? $250,000 per year went to this program. And I'm here to report that it's been incredibly successful. But in the work of doing a pilot, you find out things that you can do better. And one of the things that I found frustrating, but also an opportunity for us to improve, was that a lot of the people who are fleeing these circumstances left without their purse. They didn't have a driver's license or a birth certificate. They didn't have access to the legal documents that were necessary for them to participate in the program and get a new job. So, Mr. Chair, you see that this appropriation is expanded and is larger. That's for these two simple reasons, two lessons we've learned from doing this incredibly successful pilot. The first is that there's no reason to restrict it to the sort of geographic area of central Minnesota, because if someone's trying to find a new home away from an abuser, it's probably going to be far away. So one reason for the increased appropriation is expanding the scope of the project. The second is so that we can have resources to help people get the legal documents that they require in order to become employed. So, Mr. Chair, that is the bill, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it.
Thank you, Senator Putnam. Senator Putnam, we do not have to go into it in detail, but I have concerns about this bill because it's been expanded to the point that it falls outside of the jurisdiction of the Jobs Committee. If you look at program resources, include but not limited to the cost for daycare, transportation, housing, legal advice, legal assistance, including assistance with legal documents, it's just a number of other things that seem to fall outside of what we do. So can you speak to that? Because I'm telling you, that is a concern, and even though there may be these important issues that this population has to deal with, I'm not so certain that it should be coming from us and coming from, well, this is from general funds, and that's the other issue that I'm not even sure if we're going to have any general funds. So I'm not sure that this should be something that we should use for general funds or workforce development funds. Senator Putnam, a brief comment to this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate both those concerns. The first, what I would suggest is that given the population that we're dealing with, stable housing to a certain extent is actually endemic to this process, because you can't get a job when you're fleeing these circumstances when you don't have a place. And these resources have been used for temporary housing and temporary adjustments to these other kinds of concerns, all within the context of trying to get a job. The mention of legal documents, again, is specific to being able to get a job. Some of the things that aren't mentioned, however, in the description are things like soft skill training, which is a big part of what's happening here. So there are workforce components to the program. They're wrapped into the larger context of the stuff that we're trying to do because of the sensitive nature of the population with which we're dealing. But I completely understand your concern, Mr. Chair. I would just sort of say that in the context of the larger bill and the larger social need, and perhaps part of that is my fault for not explaining it a little bit better, but the documents that are mentioned there are all about getting a job. And there are also over the past 2 years as this program has been in operation, there's been work to develop an actual curriculum, like what needs to go into helping people travel from point A to point B, where point B is a job and point A is hell. And some of that work has been done, which is why we're thinking that we can potentially roll this out statewide. But again, I do appreciate your concern, Senator Champion. Mr. Chair.
Any other questions before we lay this over for possible inclusion so we can get to our other bills? Senator Pye.
Thank you, Senator Chair Champion. I don't know what pocket of dollars this can come from, but I do just want to say, Senator Putnam, thank you for bringing this bill forward. I personally know many women who have been in situations, whether it was sex trafficking or an abusive relationship in which they needed help and could not get from point A of where they were to where they need to be. And so I absolutely see the need of this. And I have seen women transform their lives because of programs we have in our state to help them. I've also seen many women who have stayed in those abusive relationships because they have no other alternative. I've also seen women who were lured back into sex trafficking because that was the only thing that they could do. Whether we fund it through this committee or another committee, we have to realize that our state, there's a lot of women in this situation, women with children too. And unless we do something, it's not going to change. So I absolutely support your bill. I know this is for the St. Cloud area, but I would love for us to do something like this more statewide. And thank you for bringing this.
Mr. Chair, if I may just briefly respond to Senator Paul.
Senator Putnam.
Thank you, Senator Paul, for that statement and your sentiment. And I think that that's why something like this is so important, is it's focused on employment specifically. I neglected to mention earlier, there are 18 women now who, as a result of the investment we made last time, who have jobs. Specifically as a result of this program, 18 women are no longer in the situation they were in before, and they have employment, good, meaningful employment, because of the investment from this committee in the past. Our goal was to keep spinning it out as much as we can to make it as big and as expansive as possible, because the state, I think, needs to focus on the connection between unemployment or underemployment and the circumstances in which these people suffer.
Thank you. Any other questions before we lay this bill over for possible inclusion? Seeing none, Senator Putnam, final comments on Senate File 2312.
Thank you for the time and the conversation, Mr. Chair.
We will lay Senate File number 2312 on the table for possible inclusion. Members, we will now proceed to Senate File number 2452. We'll have Eric Black come forward, as well as Janine Ellington. I'm sorry. And if I mispronounce your name in any way, please make sure that you correct it. But we will start with Senator Putnam. But before we get to you, Senator Putnam, if we will have Ms. Noner give us a sense as to what we've done in the past.
Mr. Chair and committee members, Senate File 2452 is proposing $450,000 in 2026 and $450,000 in 2027 from the Workforce Development Fund. And I believe there's an additional appropriation for $250,000 from the general fund in fiscal year 2026. And then in the past, Minnesota Diversified Industries have received $900,000 from the Workforce Development Fund in 22-23 and $1.9 million in fiscal year 24-25 one-time funding.
Thank you so very much for that information. All right, Senator Putnam, give us an overview of your bill and then tell us who your first testifier is going to be. Senator Putnam.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you for hearing the bill. Thank you, Ms. Noller, for that description. Members, we've done this before. 2 years ago, I carried the same bill, and we talked about MDI, and I still remember the cool little boxes that they showed us that they were making. So I don't really have much to add. I'd just like to turn it over, if I may, to our testifiers who can give you more detail. But I do want to ask those of us who were on the committee 2 years ago when we funded this to remember what a cool program this is, and to open your ears and hopefully your wallet to support this organization.
Thank you so much. We'll start with Mr. Eric Black, who is the president and CEO of MDI. So if you will introduce yourself for the record, Mr. Black, and then give us your 2 minutes of testimony, and as usual, welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Putnam, for sponsoring this bill again. My name is Eric Black, the President and CEO of MDI. I get the pleasure to come here and represent the employees of MDI who exist not only here in the cities but across our state. MDI has been an employer in our state for over 60 years. So we have a long history of enabling individuals with disabilities to have the employment opportunities that allows them to see the best in themselves. Last year, we ended our employment with 499 employees, and over 50% of those employees were individuals with disabilities. I've been very proud during my tenure being with MDI that we've been able to transition our program such that we not only pay individuals, we no longer pay individuals minimum wage. Everybody at my company makes above minimum wage. What's also phenomenal is through the dollars that the state has allowed us to have, we've done things like Lean Six Sigma, increased training of those individuals, and last year we ended with a productivity rate of 108% over standard. I should say 108%, that's 8% over standard. So we've increasingly seen that individuals with disabilities have the ability to do great things within our state, and MDI has been an employer that's been able to do that. The state has done a phenomenal job of allowing us to have these dollars, which has helped us to be able to hire line leads and support staff so those individuals have the accommodations that they need to get the most out of their work experience. We make products, as you may know, one of our best-known products is the white postal tote that we make for the U.S. Post Office, but we service other industries like healthcare, retail. We also service the industries like apparel who utilize our products as well. So we feel really good about our diversification. And within that, we also, I think it's a little bit that's been submitted for testimony, have seen individuals move on to highly technical jobs. And that just goes to show that our employment training focused on science, technology, engineering, and math has really led to our employees being able to increase their own self-reliance on the dollars that they make.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Is there one last sentence that you have? And again, as I've made the invitation to others, if you want to submit something written to us outside of what you've already provided us, and I will call the committee's attention to the documentation that's in there that includes also testimonials. If there's any additional information that you want us to have, please submit it and we'll make sure that the group gets it. Any one last sentence?
I just want to turn over to Jean Ellington to talk about our unified work program.
Sounds good. Welcome to the committee. Identify yourself for the record and provide your 2 minutes of testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Jean Eglinton. I'm the Vice President of Employment Services at MDI. Unified Work is an initiative to help MDI achieve its vision of meaningful employment for all people with disabilities. I've worked in the disability field for almost 40 years, most of that time being spent seeking or supporting employment for people with disabilities. In this field, we know that the development of soft skills, communication, leadership, collaboration, are extremely important to helping people prepare to get jobs in the community. Unified Work offers mobile classes, virtual classes, and has launched its first version of online asynchronous classes through a learning management system. Additionally, we have launched virtual reality work experiences in partnership with Transfer VR. These experiences allow people to try more than 30 different types of jobs. Why is this important? Because we know that you cannot be what you cannot see. All of our services are free, with participants coming to us through partner organizations like Maxability and Mayo Clinic, WACOSA, Cottonwood County DAC, UDAC, and transition programs across the state. We are also reaching individuals with barriers to employment who do not have services. The cost to deliver our classes has reduced by 60% since 2023. Much of our success was made possible because of the one-time appropriation of $1 million from this committee. It allowed us to scale up Unified Work, adding new course options, offering 33 classes, and piloting the learning management system. The one-time $250,000 appropriation included in this bill would support our work, allowing us to hire staff, to develop more curriculum and provide quality trainers for classes, create our new version of the next LMS, which will be more engaging and interactive to people with intellectual disabilities, and expand the VR work experiences. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and the committee for taking time to hear our request today.
Thank you so much. See, I know this organization because you're right on time. I appreciate that you did not go over, so I sincerely appreciate that. Any questions for Senator Putnam or either one of the testifiers? Before Senator Pratt, I want to remind you that there's a number of different testimonials and other information. Senator Pratt.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I've had a chance to be out to MDI, and I want to thank, Mr. Black and his team for help, hosting me, I should say. And it's interesting when you go out and you see the people that are working there, the pride and the dignity that they have in their jobs. I talked to several of the people working there that, I mean, you could just see in their eyes and hear it in their voices how proud they were that they were able to help provide for themselves. And so as we continue to have tight labor markets, as we talked about a number of years ago, Mr. Chair, this is certainly an area of the workforce that I think we need to find ways to access and utilize. I share your concern on the amount that's being requested. It's a large amount, and I know that funds are going to be tight, but I know Senator Tomassoni was always a big champion in the past, and we have to, throw out a quick accolade to him for his making this an ongoing budgetary review. But thank you again, Mr. Black. Like I say, I think your team was inspiring when I was out there.
Thank you, Senator
Thank you, Senator Pratt, and thank you for those kind words. I'm sure they sincerely appreciate hearing those kind words. Any other questions for Senator Putnam or either of the testifiers? Seeing none, Senator Putnam, for final words before we lay Senate File Number 2452 on the table for possible inclusion.
Thank you much for your time and consideration, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Pratt, for the kind words of support.
Thank you so much. With that being said, Senate File Number 2452 will be laid over for possible inclusion. We'll now revert back to number 3. We'll go to Senate File Number 2342 with Senator Mohamed. And it looks like you have 3 testifiers. If we could have them come up as well. And while Senator Mohamed is getting settled, I will go to Senator Ms. Noner to give us a financial picture as it pertains to Senate File Number 2342.
Mr. Chair and committee members, Senate File 2342, the underlying bill has an appropriation for $4.5 million in fiscal year 2026, although there is an A2, and maybe I can just walk through how that would change the bill as well.
Yes.
With the financial picture. So the A2 would make that $4.5 million in fiscal year 2026, also another appropriation in fiscal year 2027 of the same amount, and changing the fund from general fund to workforce development fund. And it's also clarified in the amendment that that amount is added to the base. And currently in the jobs budget, the Minnesota Youth Program receives $4 million each year from the Workforce Development Fund. And in the past, in fiscal year 24-25, the program received a one-time increase of $4.5 million in addition to the $4 million in the base. And that one-time increase came from the general fund. So it appears that Senate File 2342 is having that one-time increase from fiscal year 24-25 as an ongoing increase to the program, but completely from the Workforce Development Fund.
So just for clarity, they were receiving $4 million in the base, and then when they got the increase of going to $4.5 million in the base, now they want to put that $4.5 million in the base ongoing. Am I correct?
Mr. Chair, that's correct. And I'll just clarify that this, in addition to what's already in the base, the program would be receiving $8.56 million each year. So it'd be an underlying base of $4 million and then an increase of $4.5 million added on top of that.
So they want a 100% increase. Ms. Nona?
Mr. Chair and committee members, I think that's a correct statement.
All right. So I just wanted us to be clear as to how much money that we're talking about, members. We're talking about $8 million a year. Senator Mohamed, to the overview of your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Should we adopt the A2 amendment first?
We can. Senator Mohamed moves the A2 amendment. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate File 2342 provides an additional $4.511 million annually from the Workforce Fund to the Minnesota Youth Program, making the one-time funding increasing it. The Minnesota Youth Program is a vital opportunity for opportunity youth across the state, offering paid work experience, school outreach, and hands-on learning experience. It helps youth build skills for success, explore career options, and gain confidence through mentorship and leadership opportunities. And Mr. Chair, I've often talked about my experience at Step Up program, which has been instrumental in my career, and I appreciate you for considering it.
Thank you, Senator Mohamed. We will now go to, who would you like to go to first, Senator Mohamed?
Okay, we'll go first.
Okay. If you identify yourself for the record and give us your 2 minutes of testimony. And welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Senator Mohamed and members of the committee. My name is Kate Dewan with the Minnesota Association of Workforce Boards. We're here today to support this appropriation for the Minnesota Youth Program, or MYP, a program that our boards implement in every corner of the state. Because of MYP, young people are able to access paid work experience. They're able to learn while earning a paycheck. They're able to explore career opportunities, receive career advising, and imagine themselves in different high-growth, high-wage fields. The impact of investing early is lifelong for these young people who are most at risk and facing barriers. There's also a significant impact for employers who need employees that are work-ready and equipped with those basic work skills before they get hired. We also see the impact across our communities when we have our young people engaged in positive activities and integrated into our community fabric. Investment in the Minnesota Youth Program had not increased above $4 million since 2003. When the legislature made the increase last biennium, we were able to show that this additional investment is a big deal for Minnesota's youth. Our local workforce boards and community partners were able to get those additional dollars to work right away, nearly doubling what we did in the previous biennium. The need for this investment is clear, and the program is ready to deliver. Without this appropriation, our providers will be forced to limit work experience placements. Thousands fewer youth will have access to impactful programming, and the number of schools that have access to career advising that we provide will be significantly diminished. There isn't other funding for us to fall back on. Minnesota faces ongoing cuts in federal youth workforce funding. Last year, there was a proposal to completely zero out federal youth workforce funds. So this bill would really make a Minnesota investment in preparing Minnesota's youth for successful and stable careers. Thank you, Senator Mohamed and Mr. Chair.
Good job. Thank you so very much. We will go to the next testifier. It looks like Aiden Grabu.
Hello, Mr. Chairman and members of the community. My name is Aiden Grabow, and I'm a part of the Rochester WDI Youth Program, which is funded by the Minnesota Youth Program. As a part of the program, I've learned a lot. Some of the highlights have been the ability to learn the necessaries of hard and soft skills of construction. I've built benches, bird feeders, and sheds. Most recently, I have become a foreman, teacher aide for my fellow classmates, which has allowed me to grow my leadership skills. This experience within the Minnesota Youth Program has given me understanding on what my fit is in the world of work. I've been able to learn about my future career within the program than if I had never been a part of it. This makes me feel honored to speak of you today as a testament of what the Minnesota Youth Program provides to students and young adults like me. With this program, I am most likely have been lost of what I wanted to do and what I would want to pursue in my future.
Thank you. Did you have a little more? Because you
No.
paused. Okay, thank you. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't cutting you off too early. Welcome to thank you for coming, and we sincerely appreciate it. Before we go to Abdul Abdi, I'm just going to remind the committee that there's a number of support letters that's also in your packet, so you can refer to those as well. Mr. Abdul Abdi, if you will state your name for the record, and then give us your 2 minutes of testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Abdul Abdi. I work for Children's Dental Services as the assistant manager. Since 1919, Children's Dental Services is dedicated to improving the oral health of children from families with low incomes by providing accessible treatment and education in our diverse Minnesota community. We're also an employer of 90 staff and provide essential oral health and services for 37,000 patients annually. In the dental field, we have faced a shortage of crucial staff from dental assistants and dentists to front desk staff. We have had over 20 years of staff step-up host site, and we have hired countless step-up interns who have been entered the lucrative and greatly needed field of dentistry. It is a win-win program that trains high-risk youth who give back to the community. The ways our interns support us during the summer includes learning skills such as administrative assistance, data entry, record keeping, research analysis, and oral health outreach and education. These tasks not only enhance our operational efficiency, but also give interns hands-on experience in various aspects of work. For fostering their professional growth, we love Step Up. We can see the impact it makes for these young people. They grow in confidence and feel ready to seek high-demand, high-wage careers like those in the dental field. Children's Dental Services has been a long-standing Step Up employer and has hosted dozen interns. We have hired multiple interns past this summer experience as the direct employees. By investing in this Minnesota Youth Program, you will make this possible. Without this additional funding, youth will go without this training, and employers like us will not reap the benefits of more youth entering the workforce with the skills they need. I ask for your support for SF 2342. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. We sincerely appreciate it. Any questions from the committee? Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the presentation. Mr. Aden, I'm glad you're here today. Thank you so much. Nice to hear about what's happening in Rochester. And I'm wondering, would you feel comfortable telling me a little bit more about your Rochester experience? Are you in high school, out of school? Who are you working with? Do you feel comfortable sharing some of those details?
To the testifier.
Yes, I do, Senator Nelson. I am a senior at ALC, and what was the other question?
Oh, well, thank you. I'm wondering about your connection with the workforce, what workforce you're working with or training with, and how that impacts your work at the ALC. Do you spend some time in both places, at work and at the ALC? Just anything you can share.
To the testifier.
Oh, so we go to Phoenix or we work on the shed, but we work through like WDI, and they also help give resources so that you can like go to like the trades or construction or a union.
Great, Mr. Chair.
Senator Nelson.
Aiden, thank you so much for filling in those details. I wish you very well. And what area are you interested in? Did you mention?
The construction trades.
You just have to go through the chair, so he called on you. Go ahead, enter. You're good. You just have to go through the chair when you're entering.
What is it?
So like, she'll ask a question, and then you'll wait for him to call you, and then that's when you enter.
What was the question?
He called on you.
Mr. Chair,
Senator Mohamed.
would Senator Nelson repeat her question for us?
Sure.
Senator Nelson.
Thank you so much. So, Aiden, I was just going to comment on how exciting it is. I actually didn't even have another question, just how exciting it is and what a great place to be training with the trades. We know there's billions of dollars of private infrastructure coming to the Rochester area, and I'm very pleased that you're working with the trades, and you'll have great opportunities in front of you. So just thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, Senator Nelson, and thank you again, Aiden, for being here. I know it's hard looking at a person like me, but trust me, I'm not going to attack you or anything. No, we're happy that you're here, sincerely. Any other questions for Senator Oumou? And I did that again, because Senator Oumou Verbeten testified earlier, so I'm so used to saying that to her. Senator Mohamed, any other questions for Senator Mohamed or the testifiers? Okay, closing comments, Senator Mohamed.
Thank you for considering this bill, Mr. Chair.
With that being said, Senate File Number 2342 is laid on the table for possible inclusion.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Mohamed, and my apologies again for always, it seems lately, just mixing up you and my other bestie, so you both are my besties. So we will now go to Senate File Number 2404, and you have a couple testifiers, Maya Johnson and John Griffin, or Geffen, I assume it is. As they're coming forward, there's a couple things that I want to make you all aware of. One is that there's some additional information in your packets. Two, we're going to go to Ms. Noner so she can give us the financial picture, and then we'll go to Senator Mohamed for her overview.
Mr. Chair and committee members, Senate File 2404, proposing appropriation of $300,000 in fiscal year 2026, one time from the general fund. And in the past, in fiscal year 24-25, All Square received $600,000 in over the biennium from the general fund.
Okay. One moment. All right, Senator Mohamed, please give us an overview of your bill and then introduce your testifier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Before you is Senate File 2404, which appropriates $300,000 in fiscal year 2024 and in fiscal year 2025. Mr. Chair, if you have ever found yourself in Senate District 63 heading northbound on Minnehaha Avenue and 40th and 42nd, then you probably have seen the iconic sign reading neon lights and civil rights. That's a sign that you have found yourself at All Square and mere moments away from the best grilled cheese of your life. All Square is more than a restaurant with a 5-star grilled cheese. It is a community hub, a restaurant, a food truck that provides safe space and competitive jobs for those returning home. All Square is the epitome of what civil rights looks like for Minnesotans. The organization's mission is to develop and implement innovative programs that address the harms done by mass incarceration. They complete this mission through ensuring that those disproportionately affected by the criminal justice system are able to have access to jobs. The organization's efforts do not end there. They go a step further by providing professional development fellowship to their employees. All Square is committed to ensuring that those affected by mass incarceration are given access to employment and professional growth opportunities. I have with me a number of testifiers. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you so much, Senator Mohamed. We will start with Maya Johnson, who is the Chief Operating Officer of All Square. Welcome to the committee, and if you will give us your 2 minutes of testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Senator Mohamed. My name is Maya Johnson. I am the Chief Operating Officer for All Square. We are a nonprofit employment social enterprise located in South Minneapolis. And we really, like Senator Mohamed said, exist to both heal harms that are created by the criminal justice system and invest in those that have been disproportionately impacted by that system and in the existence of a criminal record that really may be thwarting the success of somebody who has completed their sentence or parole or probation and have become, quote unquote, all square. There are a lot of collateral consequences, as we know, that follow those sentences for those who are looking to establish a career and some stability and chase and accomplish their goals and their dreams. As Senator Mohamed mentioned, we try to employ a number of creative program opportunities to assist folks in that journey. First is our Cornerstone Fellowship program that is anchored in our restaurant and food truck. The main component of this program is employment in the restaurant and food truck at a livable and competitive wage, but also additional investments in a variety of opportunities that focus on personal and professional development, and also channeling resources for mental health and wellness supports for our staff, really honing in on employment-based training and readiness for those that join our community at All Square. Our second program that does this is more on the educational and vocational training side of things. Our Prison to Law Pipeline program, instead of the more day-to-day employment in our organization, we focus on channeling educational opportunities to those who are either currently or formerly incarcerated and want to use their lived experience, the impact that the criminal system has had on them, to get an education in the law, either a paralegal certificate or legal education at law school, to use their experience to get an education, learn the law, and use their experience to give back to their communities and help others.
Thank you so very much. You can give us one last sentence, and if there's any additional testimony that you want to provide us in writing, please submit it, and we'll distribute it to the committee. But one last sentence before we go to the next testifier.
Certainly, and I was just going to hand it over to my colleague, John Geffen, to talk about our law firm program and the final workforce readiness component of our programming.
Thank you so much. If you introduce yourself for the record and give us your 2 minutes of testimony, welcome to the committee.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair and committee. My name's John Geffen, and I'm an attorney, and I'm the director of the Legal Revolution Law Firm. And so we're not just Great Grilled Cheese, we're a nonprofit law firm. They just go hand in hand, right? So we exist really for two reasons. The law firm provides no-cost legal services to individuals impacted by our criminal legal system, specifically in record clearing. Many people suffer from the existence of a criminal record and can't find employment. I think data shows that nationally, if you're formerly incarcerated, your unemployment rate equals the rate of the Great Depression. So we help people navigate those systems to seek expungement. And as this body knows, we've had significant changes since 2023, and people are finally being given opportunities to move past those, and we're at the forefront of that. We meet with hundreds and hundreds of people to help them so they can find better employment. The other thing we do is we train individuals. We currently have 7 currently incarcerated paralegal students working with our law firm. So we are working on those job skills for those individuals. I Zoom in there every week, meet with them. They work on real cases in community. We're doing amazing stuff. And when they're coming home, they're not going to just get some job that is low wage. These are going to be valuable members of our legal community. We also work our staff. We invite and we hire people who are impacted. These are people that had otherwise been locked out of these jobs. So this is significant employment training. This is significant wages and future wealth. Recent study out of the University of Michigan showed people kind of going through programs and getting expungement have a 25% increase in their ability to get jobs, and when they find jobs, they get paid 25% more.
Thank you so much, Mr. Geffen.
Thank you.
Do you have one last sentence?
I don't. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
So much, and we appreciate you being here. As it pertains to the expungement law, yes, we know a lot about that. I was the chief author of the latest expungement law, so I did have an opportunity also to come over to visit you all at All Square, and I must admit that the grilled cheese sandwich is as good as it's being represented here. And I love the work that you all are doing, so thank you for that. Any questions? With that, I do see Senator Pratt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just have a quick question on kind of the scope. It says specifically to operate in the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul and correction facilities in the surrounding area. And I'm just curious about why so narrow when we have facilities in Shakopee or Stillwater or Moose Lake or St. Peter and others. Why specifically just Minneapolis, St. Paul?
Either one of the testifiers, whoever's going to be the one, identify yourself for the record and answer the question.
Yes. Great question. With our one location for the restaurant and our food truck.
And your name is?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Maya Johnson. With our one location and in addition to the food truck, our in-person employment opportunities on the fellowship side are a little geographically restrained to that area. In terms of the educational programming and the correctional facilities, as you mentioned, we work with Commissioner Schnell and his team at the Department of Corrections to identify which correctional facilities have the right resources, staffing, infrastructure to host our educational programming. So we work in collaboration with them to identify those needs, but we do have a good amount of outreach, both John and his team, as well as our educational program, to get into all of those facilities, including St. Cloud, Rush City, Moose Lake, to talk about our programming opportunities, and if there is availability in the facility to host them there, then we work with the educational staff in those facilities. So the more the merrier. Would love to be in all of the facilities when possible.
Any additional questions, Senator Pratt?
No, Mr. Chair, I just forgot to mention Land Lakes.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions of the testifiers? Seeing none, Senator Mohamed, if you want to give us your final words before we lay Senate file number 2404 on the table for possible inclusion.
Yeah, I mean, this organization does incredible work for all of Minnesotans, and I wish we had it all over the state, but I appreciate you for considering it. I think last year was the first time that they were ever funded in the legislature through a direct appropriation. Thank you for doing that, Mr. Chair.
And for the record, Senator Mohamed, accept my apologies again for referring to you as your other best friend, Senator Oumou Verbeten. All right, with that being said, Senate file number 2404 will be laid on the table for possible inclusion.
Thank you.
Members, we will now go to Senate file number 2461, Senator Jasinski. And I'm pretty sure that Senator Housley is pretty excited about your bill, Senator Jasinski. She is. She told me that she's really excited. Before you do your opening statement, we'll go to Ms. Noner to give us a financial picture.
Mr. Chair and committee members, Senate File 2461 is proposing $275,000 in fiscal year 26 and $275,000 in fiscal year 27 from the Workforce Development Fund. And this is to the Workforce Development, Inc. And this organization has received funding previously from the jobs budget in fiscal year 22-23. They received $550,000 from the Workforce Development Fund. In fiscal year 24-25, they received, again, $550,000 from the general fund.
All right. Thank you so very much. Thank you for that financial picture. We sincerely appreciate that. Senator Jasinski, if you will give us your overview, and then we'll get to your testifiers. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Chair Champion. Yes, this is, you've seen this before. We're asking for the same funding to continue on the Senate File 2461. This is a bill that does appropriate $275,000 in 26, $275,000 in 2027 from the Workforce Development Fund. This provides career planning, career pathway training, and education, wraparound support services, and job skills advancement in high-demand careers to individuals with barriers to employment in Steele County, helping families build secure pathways out of poverty and addressing work shortage issues in the Otana and Steele County area. This is a very important program in Otana and the Steele County area. CDI, Winger, Bosch, Federated Insurance, Mayo Clinic, and Viracon are all big supporters of this. It really does help provide workforce to all our manufacturing facilities and medical facilities in the area. So with that, I'm not going to take much more of your time, and I'm going to turn it right over to my testifiers because they will explain the program and how important it is to our community. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Jasinski. Who would you like to testify first?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jenny will.
All right. Identify yourself for the record and provide your 2 minutes of testimony. And welcome to the committee.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and committee members, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. My name is Ginny Rittman, and I'm the Executive Director with Workforce Development, Inc., a nonprofit organization providing employment and training services for the 10-county region in southeast Minnesota. Today, we're asking for your support for a bill that provides critical services to both employers and career seekers in Steele County. We were thrilled to reopen the Steele County Workforce Development Office in 2021 with the support of this committee, and we hope to keep these services available to strengthen the economic vitality of the region. During this current biennium, in approximately just 18 months, we've served over 300 adult career seekers, 300 youth customers, and impacted over 400 employers, helping employers find talent and providing training and support services to help career seekers access opportunity. Our cost per participant is $1,328, and we've tracked an average wage gain of $1.87 per hour for adults and $7.63 in youth programming. Our ability to leverage other workforce development programming and resources is also critical and is evident with the additional 158 dislocated workers currently being served. Our focus is on providing multiple in-demand career pathways programs, and our secret sauce is our career planning and wraparound services, ensuring every individual has the skills and opportunity to succeed. Our largest key industry sector is manufacturing, and we've developed a successful training program into advanced manufacturing during this time. We have a growing economy that's in danger of stalling due to a lack of qualified available labor and workforce shortages. We have the proven strategies that can build career pathways for anyone in need. This appropriation is critical for us to continue these services to the residents of Steele County. And as you can see from your handout, we have unique and impactful programs that are truly moving the needle to addressing the workforce challenges of our region, all with minimal investment and maximum impact. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for your testimony. And before I go to the next testifier, I just wanted to call the committee's attention to the Workforce Inc. one-sheeter that is in your packet. We will now go to Brad Meyer, who's the president and CEO of Owatonna Area Chamber of Commerce.
Terrific. Thank you, Chair, Committee, Senator Jasinski. We appreciate it. I'm Brad Meyer, president of the Owatonna Area Chamber of Commerce. We work with 560 businesses and organizations in the Owatonna area, and we're a big advocate for Workforce Development Incorporated in our community. As a growing community of 27,000 plus, located on I-35 and right in the middle of Highway 14, thank you to the state, thank you, Senator Jasinski, we connect to Rochester and Mankato as well as the Twin Cities. Our local economy is anchored by 44 industries, and including the headquarters to Federated Insurance. All of the activity happening requires workforce supports, which WDI provides to our employees and businesses. For example, the Steele Co Works initiative is a partnership between WDI, the Chamber, and the United Way of Steele County to have a workforce coordinator connecting in the area with high school students for job shadow, work experience, internships, et cetera, connecting hundreds of students and hundreds of businesses each year. Additionally, without WDI in our community, we'd be missing out on worker retraining, job placement, career preparation, and supports for disadvantaged youth. Partnerships like this create an ecosystem of support for workers, businesses, and the school system that have been vital to our community. Thank you for your ongoing support.
Thank you so much for your testimony, and thank you for being here. We will now go to Ray, our Miles participant. And I called you by Ray because my notes indicate that's what you like to be called. But if you give us your full name for the record and then go forward with your 2 minutes of testimony, that'd be great. And welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members, for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Ray Jean Miles, and I'm a current participant receiving career planning and training services through the Workforce Development in Owatonna. I worked for a job at Jostens for 10 years. Not long ago, I was laid off from my job like so many others. I found myself struggling to figure out my next steps and how to support my family. I heard about WDI, and I was connected with Jill and Carrie, who helped me get enrolled into college for my associate's degree in nursing. I was uncertain about my ability to be successful, but with the support of Jill and Carrie, I was able to complete my first semester with a 4.0 GPA. The services WDI provided for me gave me the tools to be successful as a single mom. I know I'm not alone, and many others in Owatonna depend on these services to rebuild their futures. The Owatonna office is essential for our community. Without continued funding, people like me, displaced workers, and those needing support will lose access to these life-changing programs. WDI has a long track record of success helping individuals securing employment in high-demand industries, supporting local businesses, and strengthening our regional workforce. I urge you to support this continued funding for the WDI's and Owatonna's office. Investing in this program isn't just about helping individuals. It's about building a stronger workforce, supporting local employers, and ensuring stability for our region. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you again. You did a wonderful job. Thank you for being here. We sincerely appreciate it. Any questions for Senator Jasinski or any of the testifiers? Senator Gustafson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Jasinski. And this is just a really brief thing to Brad Meyer. I love Owatonna. I went there for the governor's pheasant opener a couple of years ago, and I was going to leave the next morning and ended up spending the whole afternoon doing some like early Christmas shopping. So anyways, I think that you really have a lovely town. I love the workforce development. I might steal this for White Bear Lake next year, but I appreciate everything that you do and for coming to the Capitol today.
Thank you for those kind words. Any other questions or anything? Senator Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would be remiss if I just didn't speak to what wonderful outcomes Workforce Development, Inc. gets. I am not as familiar with Senator Jasinski's district, but I can tell you what happens in the Rochester area. And it is significant. The wraparound services, the modeling, the working with the workforce experts, finding where those jobs are. And also, I want Ms. Rittman to know, who also is in the Rochester area, to know how much the employers appreciate the services that you provide. So good work and well done.
Thank you for those kind words. Any other questions for Senator Jasinski or his testifiers? Seeing none, Senator Jasinski, your closing comments before we lay Senate File number 2461 on the table for possible inclusion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just that this is a very important program for this district down in Owatonna, and I appreciate your support and hope you can include it in your bill.
With that being said, Senate File number 2461 is laid on the table for possible inclusion. Members, we will now go to Senate File number 2427, and if I can have my testifiers meet me at the table, and Senator Jaskowski, Drahan will be the chairperson. Why am I getting everybody's names?
Senator Champion, to your Senate File 2427.
Thank you so very much, and I promise to try to get the other people's names right today. So, first of all, I want to call your attention to some information that's already in the packet for you to review. We also have 35 letters of support that should also be in your packet. So I want to talk to you about Minnesota MNSBIR has been a driver of innovation and economic growth in Minnesota. They've supported hundreds of Minnesota-based startups and small businesses under 500 employees to gain access to federal research and development funding through the federal programs. And by doing so, they've been unlocking millions of dollars in non-dilutive capital. They also support companies with technology transfer and commercialization of items developed at the University of Minnesota and the Mayo Clinic. Receiving funding has allowed the entrepreneurs to create high-tech jobs and commercialize their groundbreaking technologies right here in Minnesota. These companies employ our engineers, scientists, and researchers trained at the at Minnesota's academic institutions. Businesses that utilize their services are solving some of society's most challenging problems, including contributing to the health of people, making buildings more efficient, finding new ways to utilize artificial intelligence, and contributing to the safety of our communities. So these entrepreneurs are doing simply remarkable things, as you will hear today. I'd like to turn this over to Pat Dillon, who's the president and CEO, to share more about the services of this great organization.
Please state your name and who you represent for the record, please.
Yes, Chair and committee members, my name is Pat Dillon, and I am the president and CEO of Minnesota SBIR, and I'm also a retired U.S. Navy commander, served one tour in Afghanistan, and I served for 40 years of service. So our mission is to help Minnesota businesses access federal funding through the annual $4.5 billion Small Business Innovation Research and Small Business Technology Transfer Programs known as America's Seed Fund. These funds are focused on critical technological innovations with strong commercial potential that support not only national security, but U.S. competitiveness. Thank you for our support last biennium. And today I ask for your investment in Minnesota SBIR to expand our work with a strong focus on the Commercialization Institute to help transition 271 projects towards full-scale commercialization, including federal sole source contracts that will drive demand for their products, creating high-tech paying jobs and generating increased tax revenue for Minnesota. We live and breathe federal funding to support businesses across the state, from private sector firms, both startup and existing, and those emerging from the University of Minnesota and Mayo Clinic. The $1 million we were awarded last biennium was a catalyst for us to enable companies like Champaign Imaging to secure a National Institutes of Health $4.3 million grant to develop a novel pediatric imaging solution. With increased investment, we can multiply this benefit to many more businesses. Our impact is clear. Since 2014, we've helped Minnesota firms secure $112 million in federal funding, including just over $49 million in the last 2 years. As detailed on page 4 of our legislative report, along with those 35 letters of support and testimonials on page 8, our work has empowered hundreds of firms.
Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Champion, I forgot to go to Ms. Nolder for the fiscal history, if we could, on this, if you don't mind.
Mr. Chair and committee members, sorry, I lost it there for a second. Here we go. Senate File 2427 is proposing $5 million in fiscal year 2026 to Minnesota SBIR in one-time funding from the general fund. And in the past, in fiscal year 24-25, MNSBIR received $1 million from the general fund.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, with that being stated, we'll go to Ms. Amy Garza, who's the founder and CEO of Corvi Medical.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, the Jobs and Economic Committee that's here today. It's my pleasure to testify on behalf of SF 2427 and MNSBIR. I am the founder and CEO of Corvi Medical, a medical device startup that is focused on preventing life-threatening strokes due to high blood pressure. Corvi Medical employs 8 Minnesotans on either a full-time or contract basis. We use Minnesota service providers totaling over several $100,000, and our headquarters is based in Minnesota. We also plan to lease office and lab space in Minnesota. The local ecosystem here has been and is essential to Corvi Medical's success. We have been approved for the SSBCI Minnesota Growth Loan Fund. We have applied to MinCubator, which is part of the MedTech 3.0 initiative. Our investors have taken advantage of Minnesota Angel Tax Credit Program. Corvi has also been awarded $454,000 in non-dilutive funding primarily through Minnesota-based efforts, including Minnesota Cup, Carlson Family Foundation, Walleye Tank, Minnesota Deed, their Launch Minnesota Business Operation Grant, as well as matching grants, and MNSBIR. So through the persistence and guidance of the MNSBIR team, we were able to receive a National Science Foundation award totaling $300,000. Not only did this extend our runway and enable us to reach our company milestones, but it also built credibility in Corvi as an NSF-funded organization. MNSBIR fills a critical gap in our state. It's the gap between that smaller friends and family investment and the big venture capital. So this is critical for us moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yep, thank you. And last up, we have Dr. Tim Childs. And if you want to just state your name and who you represent for the record.
Yes. My name is Dr. Timothy Childs. I represent Guardian School Security Systems and a few other high-tech companies, and it's a pleasure to be here to the chair and the members of the Job and Economic Committee. It's a pleasure to testify on behalf of SF 2427 to support the Minnesota SBIR, Inc. Let me first say we have 3 high-tech companies built via working with Minnesota SBIR. The first being TLC Millimeter Wave Products, that is innovative microchip developed R&D and development and manufacturing company in Minneapolis. We also have Virtru, which is a specialized AI medical device company that can instantly, in less than a minute, provide early diagnostics on pathogens such as viruses or diseases that you may have early on pre-diagnostics. Third, and not least, is Guardian School Security Systems, which is a company that's impacting security across the nation. It's an AI early threat detection company that can virtually eliminate school shootings across the country, as well as other shootings. We are able to detect the threat, whether it's exposed or hidden, before they get on the school grounds or before they get to the front door. So the idea is to keep the threat out of the school and off the school grounds. And so funds received by the Minnesota SBIR in our collaboration and working with us over the years have been over $25 million in getting government grants. Then another $10 million from private investment from outside Minnesota. We also like the angel tax credit. We also provide living wage jobs and careers, collectively over 100 jobs, which we expect to grow more than 3X, okay, in Minneapolis and Shakopee and Eden Prairie. Yes.
Thank you. Sorry to give you the hook, but 2 minutes. So thank you, all 3 of you. Very interesting companies. Hopefully we have the next Medtronics coming up between everybody here. Members, any questions before we go to Senator Champion? Senator Champion.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, here's a couple things. Number one, I know the ask is for $5 million in fiscal year 2026. We understand that the budget is going to be very tight. We also know that there's going to be a challenge with this ask coming from the general fund because we're not sure if we're going to have a general fund target. And we know that the last biennium that we did $1 million, now they're asking for substantially more. We're not suggesting that the need is not there, but there's also some really challenges as we look at our budget. We ask that you will look at it very seriously. And with that being said, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the committee for this time.
Thank you, Senator Champion. Members, we're going to lay over Senate File 2427 for possible inclusion. Next up, Senator Champion, I believe you have Senate File 2423.
That is correct. And Mr. Chair, last but certainly not least, this is a bill that was shepherded by the Council on Minnesotans of African Heritage. And I have with me 2 testifiers, which will be Theodore Rose, who's the Managing Director for Policy at the Council. And then I think Ms. Presley is going to be with us virtually?
Yes.
Okay. And we have someone who's going to be with us, Ms. Presley, who's going to be with us virtually. Just so that you know, we have this bill. It talks about a number of different things. One is the African American Affordable the African American Affordable Home Ownership Development Program, which is a bold and necessary initiative we talked about, and we all know the stats as pertains to home ownership rates amongst African Americans. The provision that is important for this committee, even though they have a number of different things going on in this bill, centers around investing in workforce development and also looking at ways that we can sustain growth, right? When we think in terms of our economic, this being our economic region. And so we just want to say to the committee that we're also clear that this bill we hope will be laid over for possible inclusion so there can be additional discussions with Senator Port in housing so we can figure out exactly what's going to happen, if anything, from this committee. And so, again, we thank you so much. We have in your packets 9 support letters, one from the Minnesota Association of Black Lawyers. There's a letter from the Minnesota Coalition for Homeless. There's also a letter from an African Women Against Violence, Legacy Family Center, Bethel University, SHIP Collaborative, the Board for the Council on Minnesotans of African Heritage, and African Fashion Week Minnesota, and Rondo Community Land Trust. We realize that the majority of what I just articulated are housing, but we just want you to know that we recognize the importance of employment. So with that being said, my testifier is Theodore Rose. As
Senator?
I mentioned, he's the managing director for policy at the council.
Thank you, but do you want to go to fiscal first?
Yes.
And then we'll go to the testifier.
Mr. Chair, committee members, Senate File 2423 has a blank appropriation for fiscal year 2026. And to my knowledge, the African American Workforce and Affordable Home Ownership Development Program has not received recent funding from the jobs budget.
Thank you. Senator Champion, to your testifier, Mr. Rose, is that correct? Please
Yes,
state your
Your Honor.
name
Yes.
for the
Yes, Mr.
record
Chair.
and your title.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Theodore Rose. I am Managing Director for Policy at the Council for Minnesotans of African Heritage, or CEMA. CEMA was created by the Minnesota Legislature to advise government about the issues and needs of our constituency. Our constituents are Minnesotans who self-identify as African American or African immigrant, Black American or Black immigrant. Addressing the housing crisis is a key concern and priority for this population group. CEMA has submitted detailed documentation about the nature of the homeownership gap in Minnesota and why Senate File 2423 is critically important. We thank Senator Champion for carrying this bill. The bill will invest in Black participation in self-help to address Black housing instability, thus the key aspect of the workforce and components and the economic development components. The goal is to increase the supply of affordable owner-occupied housing for Black Minnesotans while using Black Minnesotans as the production workforce. The homeownership gap is a statewide problem, and this bill is supported by diverse segments of the African heritage constituency, including African American and African immigrant organizations and communities in the Twin Cities Metro and in Greater Minnesota. I will now give the floor to Ms. Presley for her testimony on the bill. Thank you.
President-elect Presley, please state your name and who you represent for the record.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Chair. And good afternoon to the committee, other committee members. My name is Naita Presley. I represent today the president-elect of the St. Paul NAACP Roy Wilkins Memorial Branch 4052. And I come before you as a former African-American retired executive director of a nonprofit housing developer and economic development corporation. I am here today to ask you to support Senate File 2423. As our two testifiers, as President Champion stated, and as Mr. Rose stated, this has a homeownership component, but it's a one-stop shop in which we are including a workforce development. And that is why we are here before your committee, the Jobs and Economic Development Committee, to ask for your support to look at one of the important aspects of this bill, and that's investing in workforce development that will support African-American-led construction training, job placement, business development programs to build economic opportunity within the community. We also look at a further opportunity that by doing this, it will equip African Americans with skills in construction, real estate, and business development while fostering entrepreneurship and job creation. With that, here's a return on your investment. It will promote self-sufficiency, job growth, and long-term financial independence while reducing government dependence. And finally, it will ensure sustainable growth. While expanding the capacity of African-American run housing organizations to actively participate in homeownership development and economic mobility by creating that workforce, it will also contribute to our state and local tax base. Thank you today for this opportunity.
Thank you. Members, questions? Senator Champion to Senate File 2423.
Mr. Chair and committee, thank you for entertaining this bill. We know that there's some tough decisions to be made between now and when we bring forth the omnibus bill, but we thank you for considering it, and I'm certain that we'll have more discussion about it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Senator Champion, and thank you to the testifiers. Members, that is it for the day. We're going to lay over Senate File 2423 for possible inclusion, and I believe our next meeting is Wednesday. Any closing comments, Chair Champion?
None. We have a number of bills that's been introduced. We're trying to get as many bills as possible. We will send out an email to you just talking about what we're looking at doing over the next couple of hearings and the possibility that we might have one evening hearing if deemed necessary. But we're going to try to avoid it as much as we can, but be prepared for it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Champion. And I do believe Tom passed out the deed report that came out last week. So if members want to review that for Wednesday, I think that would be advised.
Yes, and we will have one overview around PFML, is my understanding, that is scheduled. So we're trying to make sure we get as much in before the end of our time together.
Thank you. With that, the meeting is adjourned.